Alright, so I'm actually refilming this intro after editing the video because the intro that I filmed before, it was kind of like all doom and gloom and I made it sound like it was all really bad, but after editing the video, I'm like, it's really not even that bad. So we did have a couple issues, it just wasn't our day. So I'm going to put all the clips in and then we'll talk about the time slips.
I'm the camera guy today.
Alright,
Banana.
90 Ford F-150s out here.
He said he's going to try the line lock out here and see if the line lock works or not.
Side by side through the aid. Oh, straight. Too close for me to fall up here.
Oh, line lock worked there. I think he was trying to engage it there for a second. See how this thing's 60 foot. He was on one there. Ryan's car really looked like it left really good, but it did seem like it topped out the strut in the front. It picked the tires up for sure. And I don't know if he hit the boost cut or what happened, but we'll catch up with him here. So Ryan just turned down the boost controller. I told him to set it back at wastegate and just see what the car does in the 60 foot. So he's going to come up here in a minute.
Whatever you want to do. But if you want to do that, go to the tower and let me know.
Hopefully carry the tires, because I feel like his car
Or if you just want to get a regular run in on a regular
Here's a Camaro for your time.
line up with your buddy, know it's tail in either lane 4 or 5. Line up with your buddy in lane 4 or 5, know it's tail. You just give John a little wave and... Big turbo stop, bottom of the left lane.
He can't see anything. Woo. Big smoky burnout. I can't even see the car. Back up, Ryan. Oh. All right. He's good. What the deal is with the red light there. So I think this pass, Ryan, all we did was we put 2 degrees of timing in the car, turn the 2-step RPM up 200, and I think that's it. Hopefully he flies. Here's a Honda Accord for your viewing pleasure, next to an Acura TL. Sick, brah. Now here's some real cars. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Everybody's got to start somewhere. It's just gonna hook no matter what, I bet. I told him to be a little easier on the burnout. He was a little too easy on it. Hopefully it still hooks. lane. He's never really ran this lane before. He got out of it early, went 10:26. Well, we're shutting the track down. We got like 4 minutes. Ryan's right at the last pass of the track tonight. They just prepped it for him. Let's see if she wheelies. I feel like that's what we're trying to do. We're not even trying to go fast. I've just been telling him wheelie the thing. Good burnout, dude. That was a good, should have rode third out just a little longer, but that was a good come up on the 2-3 shift. Come on.
Third, we will be having green flag right here on the track. See you then.
Still went right. That wasn't no 11:35. What was wrong with that? That wasn't no 11.
So what I had thought was a problem that I wasn't able to identify was actually something that I did, and the computer, the Holly, was doing exactly what I told it to. I just didn't know I was telling it to do that. So I ended up, usually when I load the files, you like save it and it's like at the bottom, or you add a new one and it goes to the bottom. So what ended up happening was I saved one that had the same name, but the date was changed. So one was 6/19 and one was 6/4. So the 6/19 file that I saved was like up at the top of the list, and I went to the bottom of the list and I grabbed the wrong file, and that ended up reverting when I thought the boost cut was still at 21, and that file had the boost cut at 15 still. So in my head, I thought the boost cut was at 21, but it was still at 15, so it was cutting. So that was my fault. And then we also had issues with the timing system. You can see it very good on the last video, and at the end, on the last pass, you can hear people like, you hear, I think the track officials, you hear like, what the fuck? And then Hunter's like, no, that wasn't no 11:30. So it was a really good pass, but it was like 11:30, and it was like a 3-second 60 foot or something. And that happened on the one pass with the really big burnout, a really big smoky burnout. If you watch the staging bulbs, the second bulb comes on first when I get up there. So that's why Hunter was like, back up, back up, back up. And I saw that the second one lit first, and then the first one lit. So then I backed up to restart them. And then the first one lit, second one lit, and then while I was on the brake, it red lit. Like both bulbs were still lit, it red lit, and then the bottom one started flickering. So that one gave me like a 3.7 60 foot, I think. Yeah, so that's this one here. That was this pass, the big smoky burnout one. 3.7 60 foot. It was still 111 to the 8th, which is about where it was when it went 984. So that was pretty good. And then I just lifted. I was just doing 1/8 mile if I could get it to work. So yeah, I mean, it didn't really have, so this one was a 1.4 60 foot. It was just a really bad day today. So data day, not day today, data day. It was a bad day for data. 146 60 foot, which is not bad. It was 142 on a different pass. The second to last pass was 142. So we're kind of like mixing a whole bunch of different slips. So this one, it's all crumpled up. I handed it to Hunter to look at it. So I gave it to him to look at it, and then we were both kind of frustrated. So he crumpled it up and like put it in his pocket or something. So it's a little crumply. But this one, what we can get out of this, so you can see it's a 303 60 foot. So that last pass, look at that last pass. There was no red light. There was no issue. We don't know what happened there. I think that's why everybody was confused, because it was like the track officials that were like, what? Like, what happened? So everybody's watching it. And it was 113, like 112.98. So basically 113 to the 8th, which is faster than my 980 pass, and it was 130, almost 133 to the 1,000 foot, which is 4 miles an hour faster to the 1,000 foot than my 984 pass. So that one was on a good pass, but we don't have any good data for it because we got a 3-second 60 foot out of it, and I'm not sure what was happening. So I feel like there was also an issue with the timing system, and I also had some boost cut issues. So this one was a 142 60 foot. That one was pretty decent, but only 111 to the 8th, because that was when it spun and it kind of went right. And this one, I did this pass, if we look at the time, 9:50, and this one is at 10. So these passes were like 9 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart. I basically just did this one and drove right back around to stage, and I told them that I was gonna go right at 10 o'clock because nobody else was there. So I just sat there, and it was kind of funny because the hunter went up to go tell him I was gonna go like right at 9:59, 10 o'clock, and they're like, that's cool, we're advertised till 10 o'clock. So he stood there and he was like looking at his watch, and he waited till 10, and then he waved me on, and I started the car and drove up. So that was pretty cool. Just wanted to leave it a little bit of time to cool down, because end of this pass I was at like 212, but then I was able to get it to cool down to like 180 by the time I did this pass. Just running the fans in the staging lane and then started. Worked pretty good. So yeah, I think that's where I felt like disappointed about the day, because I made some mistakes, and the timing system wasn't really working. And then I red lit that one time, which I don't feel like it was actually a red light, because the car didn't move or anything, unless I was just staged too deep and it triggered it, which is possible. Some other good things about the night, though, I did get to test leaving on 8 pounds and 10 pounds. I wore the Hans device, so I got to kind of play around with that a little bit, and that takes a little bit more setup time, so figuring out like how to put that on, put the helmet on, all that stuff, and figuring out how much time I need to actually get in the car and get comfortable. And it did a wheelie. So the wheels came up, so that's always a good thing, right? I'm gonna go with that. The car finally did a wheelie. I feel like the car would have carried a better wheelie if it didn't hit boost cut. Obviously, it probably would have stayed up a little bit better. I did use the suspension limiters, so we tried with them not in use, and we tried with them in use. It seemed like the car did a lot better when it was limited to like 2.5 inches. The last 2 passes we did no limiter, and that's when it was pulling hard right. So the first few passes, they were limited to like 2.5, and it was going pretty straight. But when I loosened up the limiter, it wanted to go right. So it stood up a little bit better, but the 60 foot was not as good, and it spun more and it went right. So just a lot of stuff to take in. So we're all figuring it out. It's all new stuff, and it didn't break. So I guess that's ultimately the goal, right? So I should check the catch can. I mean, I put the diaper on. Everything is still fine. Drove it on the trailer. It's kind of easy to get frustrated and forget about the simple things. You came home safe and nothing broke. So good stuff. And we're still like really conservative on the whole tune. So basically this is like a pump gas tune, and it's on E85. So we're running like, after we added 2 degrees, or it's like 17 and 14. 17 for timing and like 14 pounds of boost. So somewhere around there. It's like pretty close to a pump gas tune. Pretty safe. And just kind of want to lean on it. I don't want to mess with timing too much. They're just going to add boost, but we're having issues with the boost controller and getting that to work right, because it was working right, working the way that it was supposed to, but it's so sensitive that going from like 5% does nothing. It's on wastegate. 10% hits 21 pounds boost cut. So there's not a lot of resolution. So what I think I'm going to do over the next week or so is I'm going to get rid of the just boost duty only boost control setup, and I want to go to like a dome control type setup where I can command what I want, because that was the goal, was to try to get it to level off at 20 pounds. We got all kinds of goobers running around the garage because they know I'm making a video, so they always gotta do that. So that would be ideal, is to get it to where I can control the boost and command a certain amount of boost and then stop messing around. Because like half of our night was just trying to figure out the boost controller. And then we were like, nope, just go back to wastegate and dial in 60 foot. And yeah, so more to come, guys. I'll let you go.